Unlike other spa parts, a spa's shell can't be replaced, so you want to make sure you get it right first time. In this video, we'll look inside the Vortex Spa shell and find out what makes it so strong and so sturdy. Why does a spa shell need more than just one layer? What are the benefits of using a range of materials? And what can go wrong if a spa shell is not made correctly? Our CEO, Andrew Pullen, will give a full cross-section of the elements that make up a strong, sturdy shell found on all Vortex spas. With this shell here, I understand that this is a really important component of the spa.
It is, Annabella. Probably the most important part of any spa's construction is the way the shell is manufactured. The reason being is that most other parts on the spa are replaceable. You know, if a pump goes, even a section of framing, not that it would go on a Vortex spa, it can be replaced. But the shell, if it was to delaminate or crack, then you basically throw the spa away. So Vortex exclusively uses American Aristech acrylic, which is recognised as being the very best on the market. But when you draw that acrylic, when it's heated up and sucked down into the mould, it gets very, very thin. In fact, it can get down to about 1 millimetre thick. So obviously not strong enough to hold the weight of the water in the spa. So it's important that the acrylic gets backed with fiberglass. And this is the case with all spas, really. There's two ways of manufacturing a spa shell. One is to use an ABS backed acrylic, which some manufacturers do. The other, more common way, is to use fiberglass backing. But the problem with the fiberglass is that it doesn't like sticking to the back of the acrylic. And unless you deal with that problem, you can get what's called delamination over time, where the surface of the shell actually starts to lift or bubble away from the fiberglass backing. So Vortex uses a 4-layer shell construction process. The first layer, as we've discussed, is the acrylic. That really gives the spa its lovely colour and finish. They then spray a very special resin called vinyl ester resin onto the back of the acrylic. Now, vinyl ester resin is used in superyacht construction. It's a very, very high-end resin. And what it does is it actually chemically bonds itself into the back of the acrylic. And an analogy I like to use is that if you were to paint regular glass, you could scratch it off, right? Most people would recognize that. But if you etched the glass first and then painted it, then it's going to stick a lot better. And that's what the vinyl ester does. They then spray the third layer, which is a marine grade polyester resin with the chopped strand glass in it. And that gives it its torsional strength. The important thing about any fiberglassing process, though, is that it must be cured at the right temperature and humidity. If that's not done, once again, it can lead to delamination. So all Vortex spas are put through what's called a curing oven, which is a massive oven where the hundreds of spas go through, and it is set to a particular temperature and humidity range that's perfect for curing the fiberglass. So the first 2 layers of fiberglass are cured in that way. And then Vortex adds a 4th layer, which they call a polyceramic resin, which is a mixture of resin and cement, actually. That then gets sprayed on as a last layer, and that's what gives the shell its rigidity or structural integrity. Because they use the 4-layer shell construction, Vortex spas have one of the best shell warranties in the industry. It's a full 10-year warranty, and it's what's called non-pro rata, meaning that it doesn't reduce over time. Many shell warranties in the spa industry reduce over time, meaning that if your spa was to delaminate after, say, 5 years, you'd only get half the replacement cost back. Now, if you look at a lot of spas underneath, as we're doing, you will see that the seats that carry most of the weight actually have wooden props under them, because they haven't used that 4th layer of fiberglass, and they need those wooden props to prop them up. It's generally a sign of a poorly produced spa if you see some way of propping up the shell using timber, or I've even seen PVC pipe used. Much better to use that 4-layer shell construction and make sure you're doing it right the first time.
And you've mentioned, Andrew, delamination quite a lot. What exactly is delamination? Because No one will want to be dealing with this, will they?
No, absolutely not. I mean, anybody that's familiar with rusting in old cars, they can see the paint bubbling away from the steelwork underneath, and you'll know that, you only have to sort of scratch the surface of it and the paint's going to peel off. That's quite literally what delamination is like within spas. Once you get the bubbling of the acrylic, then if you were to sit on it or scratch it away, it means that the surface of the shell comes away and then can start leaking water. So really it's a death knell to the spa if it starts to delaminate, and the shell or the whole spa would have to be replaced.
Thanks for watching. We hope this short video has helped you learn more about the 4-layer shell construction found on Vortex Spas.